Welcome, data detectives. Today, we're going to become experts at cracking codes. Why? Well, because every single collection of data, every scatter plot you see, has a secret story hidden inside, and our job is to uncover those patterns and solve the mystery. So let's open up our very first case file. Okay, here it is, our first case. Down at the bottom, you see oil production, and along the side, the price for a barrel of that oil. Now, if this was a simple case, you'd probably expect to see a nice, clean, straight line. But look at this. The dots start way up high on the left, they take a nosedive, and then they kind of flatten out. It's a curve, a really strange pattern. These clues aren't shouting at us, they're whispering a much more complicated story. So what do you think is going on here? It looks like when more oil is produced, the price drops, but then it hits a floor. It only goes so low. This is exactly the kind of puzzle we're here to figure out. And to crack cases like this, every good detective needs to know the basic moves for following a trail of clues.
Right, the very first thing we do when we find a trail of clues is figure out which way it's heading. Is it going up? Is it going down? Or is it just kind of wandering all over the place with no real direction? This is, without a doubt, the most fundamental first step to understanding what's happening between our two variables.
A positive association is basically an uphill trail. As you read the graph from left to right, you'll see the dots tend to climb higher and higher. You can think of it like this. The more hours you spend studying for a test, the higher your score is probably going to be. That's a classic uphill pattern. And a negative association, you guessed it, it's a downhill trail. As we move from left to right, the dots tend to fall lower. You know, our oil price case file was a perfect example of this. As the oil production went up, the price went down. That trail was definitely heading downhill. All right, it's time for a little training exercise. We've got a whole stack of case files from a place I like to call Scatterplot City. Our job is to sort them, and fast, based on the direction of their trail. You think you're ready to test your skills? Let's get to sorting.
And here are the results. So we can pretty much break these down into three main groups. We've got F and G over in the positive or uphill pile because, their general trend is heading up. Then B, C, D, and E all show a really clear downhill trend, so they're negative. And what about A and H? Well, those clues are all over the map. There's no clear trail to follow at all. We call that no association.
Excellent work, detective. You've totally mastered direction, but the next level of investigation, the real pro move, is looking at the shape of the trail. Is it a straight and narrow path, or does it twist and turn and do something unexpected?
So this brings us to two really key terms, linear and nonlinear. A linear association is pretty simple. It means you could take a ruler and draw a single straight line right through the heart of the data. It's predictable. But a nonlinear association, that's a whole different animal. The path curves, it bends, it might even change direction. It's more like a winding road.
And this is a fantastic example of a nonlinear association. I mean, there's clearly a relationship here, right? The points drop, and then they come back up. And yeah, it kind of looks like a smile. There's just no way you could ever capture this story with one single straight line. So here's the big takeaway. A pattern doesn't have to be straight to be super meaningful.
Okay, let's go back to our Scatterplot City case files just one more time. If we sort them by their shape, you'll see that only C and E really follow a straight path. All the others, A, B, D, F, G, and H, they've all got curves and bends in them. They are all nonlinear, and each one is telling its own unique, winding story.
Okay, now for the advanced technique. Sometimes, a single scatter plot doesn't just tell one story. It can tell two or maybe even more. What we're looking for now are hidden groups, kind of like separate conspiracies happening in the very same dataset.
Take a look at this. At first glance, it might just look like a big cloud of random points. But if you really look closer, you can start to see two separate groups, and each one seems to be following its own little path. It's kind of like finding two different sets of footprints at a crime scene. It tells you there's way more to the story than you first thought.
So, we have a name for these separate groups: clusters. Finding clusters is like discovering secret subgroups hiding in your data. For example, if you plotted the height of every student in a high school, you might find one cluster for the younger students and another, slightly taller cluster for the older ones. The data is telling you that there are distinct groups at play.
Here are a few more examples. Plots A and D, they seem to show just one single continuous pattern, but look really closely at B and C. In plot B, we have two distinct uphill trails going on at the same time. And in plot C, it's even wilder.
We've got one group heading up and another group heading down, all in the same chart. These clusters are huge clues that are hinting at a much deeper story.
And with that, congratulations! You've officially completed your training. You are no longer a rookie, you are a full-fledged data detective, and you're equipped with a seriously powerful toolkit for uncovering hidden stories in any scatterplot that comes your way. So here it is, your official detective toolkit. Always start by checking the direction. Is it positive or negative? Then examine the shape. Is it linear or nonlinear? And finally, look for those deep secrets. Are there any hidden clusters? With these 5 simple questions, you can solve almost any scatterplot mystery you'll ever find. You know, the world is just full of data. It's everywhere. In sports statistics, in economic reports, in the patterns of nature. Every single one of them is a potential case file just waiting for a detective like you to open it. So the only question left is, with your new skills, what mysteries are you going to be the one to solve?